It's the final test of the regular season. Sixers, Rockets, Embiid, Durant, pass or fail. It's as simple as that. We'll break it all down and more in this edition of Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And we thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Keith Pompey sitting right there, longtime 76ers beat writer. Marc Farzetta over here, longtime Philly sports talker. We got to get to the bench needs for the 76ers. They have come up small over this season and recent memory as well. We'll also talk about Allen Iverson and VJ Edgecombe having a little bit of a sit-down on the Sixers social media networks. So we'll talk about that, and we'll also talk about taking on the Rockets. But before we do anything, Keith, goodness gracious, take a gander at these standings. The Philadelphia 76ers now fall down to the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. They are behind the Orlando Magic, who came up with a very big win for themselves last night over the Minnesota Timberwolves, 132-120. But bottom line, Sixers now in the 8th seed, Keith, and we're losing our minds. Play-in tournament seems more inevitable than ever at this point, Keith. It is a growing concern among the fan base.
It is, and the thing is right now, like you look at that game, we talk about Orlando. You know, Orlando was a team that was in the tailspin for a little stretch, right? But then now you look at the West, and we talked about it, how certain teams have things clinched, where they know Minnesota knows that they're going to be finish no worse than the 6th seed. So what do? It's one of those things where, hey, we're going to rest guys up and we're going to play. And that benefits a team like Orlando, because if you go by strength of schedule, so to speak, that shouldn't have been a game that Orlando won, right? When you talk about strength of schedule. But when you factor in that Minnesota is like, hey, look, we're going to be basically locked in as the 6th seed in order for us to beat the team that's number 3, whoever that's going to be, is one of those things we have to be healthy. So that's the thing that the 76ers have to contend with. Now, unfortunately for them right now, you're looking at a team in the Rockets who need to win because, you know, right now they're like in that 4 or 5 race. They're currently 5th in the West, but they're right there. And if they win both games and if some teams get some help, they could be an outside chance of them getting number 4 or maybe number 3. You never know. So it's not clinched for them, and that's the problem with the Sixers, that no one is laying down for them. And you're right. You got to pay attention to that. Not only am I paying attention to what Orlando did, I paid attention to that. I'm paying a huge attention to tonight's game between the Toronto Raptors and the Miami Heat. You know, that's a team that, you know, look at it. You know, we're looking at it, one of those things where if Toronto goes up and wins another game and they're a game and a half over the Sixers, or maybe 2 games over the Sixers if they win and the Sixers lose, you know, it makes it tougher for the 76ers to basically get that 6th seed. It's going to be hard for them to get that 6th seed.
Yeah, 3 words. That's a wrap. Simple as that. The Raptors, as you mentioned, they got Miami tonight, then they're at New York, and then then they host the Brooklyn Nets. The Magic have 2 games after last night remaining on their schedule, at Chicago and then at Boston, so both their games are on the road. That helps the 76ers a wee bit. Then Sixers are at Houston tonight. They're at Indy tomorrow night, their final back-to-back of the season. Then they host the Milwaukee Bucks. That game just might matter, and quite frankly, I hope it matters. And then the Hornets, by the way, or a half game behind the Sixers at the present moment. They got at Detroit. That game is tomorrow night. And then they're at New York to take on the Knicks after that. So that's the way the cookie's crumbling right now in the Eastern Conference, and it is certainly a concern. Now let's focus on tonight's game against the Houston Rockets. I think it's a very easy billing tonight. The final test. This is the last, what should be, hard game of the regular season for the Sixers. This could be a game where, hey, you steal this game somehow tonight, Keith. You find a way to win this game. Maxey gets hot, Embiid goes off, PG's hot from 3, Quentin Grimes knocks down 3s from off the bench. I don't know. I'm hoping here. This is a game that if you steal, things could line up rather well, and I think a little bit of optimism would get back into the Sixers fan base about possibly getting out of the play-in tournament, although not likely. It's still the route the Sixers have to go if they want to find their way out of the play-in tournament today. How do you or tonight to help their cause? How do you see this game playing out against the Rockets tonight?
I think it's going to be a tough one for the 76ers. I really do. Here's the thing. The 76ers, I can't say that the Sixers have been out of any of these games. They weren't out of the Detroit game. They weren't out of the Spurs game. But I just look at the way that the Rockets are they're motivated as well. They're starting to play better. It's going to be in the road. It's like a playoff game for both teams. Let's face it. It's like both of these teams have yet. They still have to win to establish something like we talked about beforehand. So I just look at the Sixers and I'm saying to myself, Kevin, Durant, KD, like who is going to be able to guard him? Are they going to be able to? Now, I do like the matchup with Embiid against Sengun, right? We saw that the last time where Sengun just couldn't deal with Embiid. So I do like that matchup. Paul George is going to play. So, he's going to be a little bit of an added help, so to speak. But with that being said, I'm looking at KD and I'm trying to figure out who do the Sixers have who can stop him. And I don't see anyone who can do that. So I think that it's going to be tough for the Sixers, which could stand in the way. Now, I do believe that even if they lose tonight, they still have a chance. But however, I think that what would have to happen is, for the Sixers, Toronto will have to lose, right? And then the Sixers will have to win out from there, and Toronto will probably have to, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
whatever. They have to have finished with the same record as the Raptors for them to do that. And then the fortunate part is there could be another team that slips in and wins. So if I'm the Sixers, I think for you have to steal a win. Miami has to beat Toronto, and then you have to win on out. But even with that, you still don't, I believe, control your own destiny because of the tiebreakers with certain teams. Now, you have it over Toronto, but I think that the 76ers right now, this is a must win for them just for their peace of mind, so to speak. And then you deal with the other things after that.
Yeah, for the record. So again, I'll put the standings up one more time. Sixers have tiebreakers over the Raptors, the Magic, and the Hornets as well. So that's obviously good. That bodes well for the Sixers in that regard. They certainly don't have it over the over the Hawks. So that's the way that one falls. The last time the Sixers did play the Houston Rockets was back in January, the 22nd of January. Joel Embiid put up a triple-double in that game, and his total line was 32 points in 46 minutes. It was an overtime game. 15 rebounds, 10 assists, 10 of 19 from the floor, 1 of 3 from beyond the arc, 11 of 12 from the free throw line. Maxey was the Sixers' leading scorer, dropping in 36, and PG just had 10 points in 37 minutes played in that game. Meanwhile, you mentioned Sengun in this one. 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 13 points as Joel Embiid had his way with him, certainly. And KD, 36 points in 44 minutes the last time these two teams faced each other. And it did work out to a 128 to 122 76ers victory. So now you're in Houston. Hopefully you at least repeat the process of winning another basketball game against the Rockets. That would be a nice step in the right direction for the Sixers as the season winds down. And again, their final test of the regular season. When we come back, I did watch. It's 3.5 minutes. If you haven't seen it yet, it's worth the watch. Allen Iverson, VJ Edgecombe sit down and have a conversation. And Iverson comes up with a comparison of 2 Sixers he played with for VJ Edgecombe. That and more when we return. This is Locked On 76ers on the Locked On 76ers YouTube channel. Back after this. Right now, it's time to tell you about Wayfair. How fantastic is Wayfair? And how about Way Day? Way Day is here, and if you've been thinking about upgrading your space, this is the time to do it with Wayfair. During Way Day, Wayfair is offering up to 80% off with fast and free shipping on everything, making it easy to find pieces that fit your style and fit your budget. It's super easy to filter by size and price as well as style, so you're not wasting time just scrolling around. And the reviews and photos help you feel confident in what you're getting. And Wayfair verified products are vetted by specialists, so you know you're getting quality. Whether it's updating your room, whether it's adding outdoor pieces when the weather's getting nicer, or just finding something that ties your space together, it makes the whole process simple from start to finish. And Way Day is the sale to shop the best deals in home. We're talking about up to 80% off with fast and free shipping on everything. Head to wayfair.com April 25th through the 27th to shop Way Day. So get ready. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Now it's time to tell you about the Gametime app. Nothing like being in the NBA arena, especially for postseason play. We'll say the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, well, that could be a pain, but not with the Gametime app. The Gametime app is the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle, and it puts the advantage back in the fans' hands where it belongs. You pull up the Gametime app, you create an account, use promo code LOCKEDON, and get $20 off your first purchase. You can pick any NBA game. You get tickets within minutes. You're going to love the all-in pricing, too, by the way, so there's no surprise at checkout. Being someone who wants to buy tickets, you can also view your seat's vantage point before you buy it. That's a nice panoramic view, so you're taking the guesswork out of what you're buying, and the zone deals are fantastic. Choose the section. Gametime picks the seats, and you save big. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with the Gametime app. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Remember, it's gametime.co, not gametime.com for the Gametime app. And you've heard us talking a lot about the Everydayer Club. Sign up at LockedOn76ers.supercast.com. That's LockedOn76ers.supercast.com for ad-free episodes of Locked On 76ers. Also, access to our Discord conversation as well. So sign up to be a part of the Everydayer Club at LockedOn76ers.supercast.com. This series, film sessions that they're doing on the 76ers YouTube channel and their social media platforms is fantastic. We saw earlier in the year Tyrese Maxey and Eric Snow get in, I mean, not a heated argument by any means, but just comparing if Eric Snow would have shot the threes Tyrese Maxey shoots now, how Larry Brown would have pulled him out of the game so fast he wouldn't know what hit him. You know, fun conversations like that just to compare the eras. Well, Allen Iverson sat down with VJ Edgecombe. It's like 3.5 minutes. It's a good conversation. VJ admits to being nervous before his NBA game when, Keith, I remember you and I were talking about, what do you mean you took a nap? Like you slept like a baby. Come on. And then VJ went out there and balled, man.
Then told
Allen Iverson. He told the truth. Yeah, right. Well, Iverson said that he's like, hey, man, I can identify. First time I played against Mike, meaning Michael Jordan, obviously, he was like, damn, starstruck. But he's like, the minute the ball went up, it was game on. And the switch was flipped. So VJ identified with that. But then the comparison came. And some people might take this as a slight. But one of the things Allen Iverson seemed to be the most impressed with VJ Edgecombe, and he acknowledged all the basketball skill. But what he said he was most impressed with, more or less, was he's got that dog. VJ Edgecombe's got that dog in him. And he goes, he's like, you remind me of Aaron McKee and Eric Snow. You're a lot like Aaron McKee and Eric Snow, where you just will guard. You'll guard anybody we ask you to guard, and you'll put up a fight because you got that dog. Now, I think everyone, and Eric Snow, nice player. Aaron McKee, former Sixth Man of the Year. We know how good he was defensively, outside shooting, all that stuff was great. But I think we all agree that we'd like to see VJ Edgecombe exceed the individual talent of both those players, and I think he will. But to get that kind of compliment, knowing how much Allen Iverson respects and loves Aaron McKee, and know how much he loves and respects Eric Snow, that's high praise, actually, for a guy like VJ Edgecombe. So my first reaction was like, well, I think he's going to be better than both those guys, but that's still one hell of a compliment coming from Allen Iverson.
Bingo. I agree. And I know that there's a lot of players saying that, what are you talking about? Like, here's the thing. Mr. Sandman, if you can put my man's comment up right now, if you can. It's like the second, yeah. Iverson compared VJ to Eric Snow and Aaron McKee. I would take this as disrespect and hit the gym extra hard this offseason. That's a great comment. And I think a lot of people agree. You know, people say that. But to me, I think it's a great thing that Allen Iverson said. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I found out this year when they were honoring that team that made it to the championship. And the more people that you talk to the more people that told you how Eric Snow and Aaron McKee were the heart and soul of the team. And they were the guys who did the most protecting of Allen Iverson. And to a point, when you look at VJ Edgecombe's role at this team, right? What has he done? He's been the guy who sacrificed a lot, right? He's also a guy who has that dog in him, even though he said that he was nervous that game. You know, he didn't show it, right? He didn't show it at all. But also, he's the guy that we all know that he's like doing whatever he can for the team, and he's playing hard. He's doing hustling. He's doing all that. So Allen Iverson is privy to things that happen in the locker room. He also knows that Aaron McKee and Eric Snow definitely had his back. They had his back more so than anyone. He also knows that they sacrificed a lot that people didn't know of, but they sacrificed some things in order for AI to excel and be the person that he wants. And they always had his back. So when you take away points per game average, you take away like the lack of all-star bids and all this stuff, you know, when you get that type of compliment from a guy who was a superstar and these two guys sacrificed for him, then you get it. Because everyone will tell you that Eric Snow was the heart and soul of that team. Everyone will tell you they call him Blue, talking about Aaron McKee. Everybody knows that Aaron McKee is a guy said Eric. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to do this.
I know. I had
to double check too. My bad, Mr. Sandman. But the thing is, everyone knew how much he had his back. And when we look at it, there's certain times where Maxey in the Edgecomb, and who's the first person over there? When Joel Embiid was doing stuff, right? And when people were really critical of Joel, talking about this and that, who was one of the first people to stand up and praise him, right? It was this rookie talking about VJ Edgecombe. So when you hear the comparisons, it brings me back to all the times that Blue McKee had Allen Iverson's back, all the time that Snow had his back. So to me, that's a high compliment. He's calling him a great teammate, a guy who sacrifices himself for the good of the team. Because we all know there are certain games where after the game, we're looking at it and we're saying, dang, I wish they would have got VJ Edgecombe the ball more, right? So that's how I took it.
Yeah. I think with everything, you know, we hear all these, for lack of a better term, hot takes nowadays. And I think what a lot of people need to do is you always want to consider the source, consider the agenda, consider the value, all that stuff. So when I talk about considering the source and considering the value, Allen Iverson's opinion and value of Aaron McKee, even the NBA fan that respects the hell out of both those guys, maybe more than most, understands that in Allen Iverson's mind, those guys are far more valuable than anything we could ever understand. Any NBA fan could understand, any Sixers fan could understand. But when you just talk about how we evaluate players and our currency for players is a very simple thing, how good they are. We're not in the locker room. We're not getting inspired by these guys. They're not protecting us. They're protecting Allen Iverson. So when he offers that kind of praise, he's offering praise to somebody that he values at an ultimate level. That's a sign of huge respect, especially when you're talking about a rookie. Now, when you break it down to just the value and maybe, I don't know, the currency of a VJ Edgecombe from just a fan's perspective that wasn't there playing with Allen Iverson or playing with Iverson, wasn't playing with Snow, wasn't playing with Aaron McKee, that's where it goes, that seems disrespectful. When you're just talking about skill level, because I think most NBA fans would say if you're betting on VJ Edgecombe to be better than Aaron McKee and Eric Snow, they would bet heavy on that he would exceed the careers of those two as an individual player. And I think that's a pretty safe bet. But for that to come from Allen Iverson, that shows that he respects a rookie and puts him in the same category as two guys that he respects tremendously. But also, he's not putting pressure on the rookie. It's a safe comparison. He's not like, hey, you know who you remind me of? Dwayne Wade. You are all the comparisons about Dwayne. They are absolutely right. You're going to be like Dwayne Wade. Your career is going to be like Dwayne Wade. You're going to play like him. You're going to maybe even better. He's not putting a huge name that's going to put pressure on the rookie. And I will say, I don't know if this was just me seeing something I wanted to see, but when he did compare him to Snow and McKee, VJ, he wasn't like, oh, wow, thanks. That's amazing. He wasn't like that. He was like, okay. Like, I'll show you I can get better than that. I'll show you I can pass that level of play that they got to. He took it as a compliment. He wasn't disrespectful in return, but I could tell there was kind of like a, okay, I think I could be better than that, but thank you. That kind of thing.
You know what? Here's the thing, though. Like, to me, well, first of all, it's kind of like what we talked about. I think it was more so to do with the things he sacrifices and this and that. Mm-hmm. And I think that if I'm VJ Edgecombe, and let's keep it 100, from day one, everyone has been comparing him to Jimmy Butler. They've been comparing him to Dwayne Wade. And I'm going to be honest with you, and he's great. As a rookie, he has a lot of potential, but he hasn't done squat yet. And what I mean by that is I'm saying he had a great rookie season, but it's just been 1 year. In order for you to obtain these comparisons and to live up to it, you have to do that over time. Like, it's going to be multiple seasons to do that for us to do it. Right now, you just have potential. So when you have a guy that says, you know what, bro, right now I'm thinking about your selflessness. I'm thinking about the dog you have in you. You know what? That gives me, if I'm a young rookie, I'm like, okay, I respect that, like you said, but I'm also going to show this guy that I can be one of the greatest 76ers of all time. I can be on that walk of fame that you are in, like outside the practice facility, right? I'm going to show you that because, the thing is, it's one of those things that he hasn't done anything. He just has a lot of potential. Now, again, I get it, y'all. He's going to be first team all rookie, right? He scored 30-something points. He was like, he has accolades that only LeBron did, only like Wilt Chamberlain did. I get that. But when we talk about a career, you know what I mean? In order for you to make a Hall of Fame, or in order for you to have your jersey retired, you got to do it over time. And if I got one of the greatest saying to me, not blowing smoke up my boop like most people do, right? Hey, that's telling me, young rook, you get in there and work. But I love the dog that you have. And to be honest with you, I'd rather somebody say to me, I love the dog that you have as opposed to that jump shot that you have. Because there's some dudes who had that jump shot but don't produce in the clutch because they don't have that dog. So I'd rather have that dog and work on other stuff. So the thing is, and he is doing that, and you hope that he gets it and he understands what this man is saying. You know what I mean? Because it's not a lot of people that have what VJ Edgecombe have. There's not a lot of guys on the 76ers team or any team that can struggle mightily for 3.5 quarters. But with the game on the line, guy has the confidence to step up and make that game-winning shot and game-winning plays. And VJ Edgecombe has shown that on several occasions that he can do it. You know what I mean? That's a dog right there. That's a dog.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I blacked out for a second. I want you to do a sound effect. Here we are doing the show for months now, and I didn't know you could do sound effects, man. That was a perfect censorship bleep. That was perfect. I might have to start dropping.
Yeah. I didn't know we could say that word.
That was great. No, that was perfect. I didn't know that was great, brother. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about what the bench needs to do to help the quote-unquote big three, what other role players need to do to help that squad out. going forward as things wind down. All that more when we return. This is Locked On 76ers, Locked On 76ers YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Back after this. And now it's time to tell you about BetterHelp. That's right, BetterHelp. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Financial stress is something that a lot of people are carrying right now, and it's not just the numbers. It can affect your sleep, your relationships, your overall mental health in ways that build up over time. Everyone always talking about it, but do they ever help themselves? That's where BetterHelp comes in. You can go through something, financially speaking, and make sure that you want somebody that you can trust, somebody you can talk to about it. The stress that comes with everything that you need to figure out when it comes to all of it, the expectations you feel, maybe saving for that summer vacation, whatever it might be, the stress of that, knowing that you could be in it together, how the pressure could spill over into other areas of your life. Therapy isn't just about financial advice, though. It's about working through the stress, the anxiety, and the emotions that come with it. With over 30,000 licensed therapists with BetterHelp and more than 6 million people served, BetterHelp makes it easier to get matched and start focusing on what you need. When life feels overwhelming, therapy can help. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. That's betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. Get help with BetterHelp. And how about Indeed? Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing, and one position you have to fill still is sitting there wide open. That's where Indeed comes in. Indeed sponsored jobs helps reach people that actually fit your job description, the people that you need with skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post, but you put your post right in front of the right candidate. And here's a stat for you. Just in the brief amount of time I've been telling you about the incredible job that Indeed sponsored jobs does, companies like yours have made 27 hires, according to Indeed data worldwide. So spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates who check all the boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. It's called efficiency, baby. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show, by the way, get $75 sponsored job credit to help you get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. And let them know you heard about us on Indeed.com/podcast and mention Locked On 76ers. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. This is the job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Keith, we've talked about Quentin Grimes. We've talked about Kelly Oubre. We've talked about Dom Barlow, maybe even VJ Edgecombe. Role players of this team, bench players of this team also. What do you need to see from them maybe tonight and as the season goes on to give you confidence that this team and these role players can help the big three moving forward?
You know, first of all, let's go with Dom Barlow. Like Barlow, I need him to be that glue guy, right? I need him to be, assuming he starts tonight, and I assume he will, and Kelly Oubre will probably come off the bench, right? That's the way that they've been going most of the time.
Yeah.
I need him to be the glue guy. I need him to be Marc Iverson. Like, you're not going to close out the game with him unless he has a super solid game. But I need him to get offensive rebounds. That's something that he's been doing a lot lately, or early on in the season. I need him to, with that comes putbacks. I need him to defend. I need him to hustle, right? I need him to do all the intangible things. Kelly Oubre, the same thing in a way. Play that way, knock down some shots that you're going to get. I need you to defend. I need you to go out there and defend those perimeter players. Make life miserable for them, right? If it comes down, stick the shot. Quentin Grimes, dude, you're going to be out there, and your role to me is, and I love the fact that you're showing us that you're more athletic than we thought, but you came here because they needed someone to be an additional ball handler at times, and they also needed someone to knock down shots, perimeter shooting, right? So to me, you know what? You're not going to get a lot of shot opportunities, but they can't have you having another donut like you did a couple games ago. You need more than 4 shot attempts, right? You need to be out there, or if you get 4 shot attempts, you can't miss all of them, right? So I need him to be consistent. Drummond, grab rebounds, bruh. Like, it's like to a point, I get it. You've been doing that, and you've been showing that you can knock down threes, right? But too far often now, we're seeing the disparity on the boards where they're just getting destroyed. You're getting like you struggled the last couple games that you've been out there. So you need to go out there and play well. And energy from Bona. I need energy. I need energy. And if Justin Edwards gets in, if he gets in, I just need you to provide that energy too. Be a 3-and-D guy. Step up. Like, and all this doesn't matter how many points these guys score, because we already have 4 dudes who can score points and they're going to look to. But they need the intangibles from all these guys that we just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. No, I absolutely agree. And I'd love for Bona to be able to get into the game so he can provide some of that energy. That'd be a good first step. You knew I was coming with it. You knew I was.
Here's the thing. He's shrinking in the game. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
For the Turkish national basketball team,
yes,
Sagoon is the starting center. Bona is the backup, right? He's his backup. So what should happen is he knows his tendencies. He knows how to do stuff. Sometimes, you practice with this guy all the time. So, like, if you know what he doesn't like, how he doesn't like getting roughed up or stuff like that, bruh, you do everything that you know that he hates and get in his head and do stuff. And then after the game, you say, look, man, I'm sorry. I love you. You're my guy. I love you. But you got to go out there and go at him. You have to go at him.
I'm with you. I want to see it. I want to see that smoke. I want to see that
Turkish smoke.
I want to see that turkey smoked. All right. Anyway. All right. His name is Keith Pompey. My name is Marc Farzad. This is Locked On 76ers. I'll be back with you guys tonight. Instant reaction to this game for Locked On 76ers postcast. Here's the thing for tonight. Let's go Sixers. This is the guide for tonight. Let's go Sixers and let's go Heat. Let's go Miami Heat. They tip off at 7:00. So by that fourth quarter for Sixers Rockets tonight, we'll know if the Sixers have an opportunity to pick up a game and maybe jump past those the Raptors tonight. We'll cross our fingers for that one because the Sixers own the tiebreak over the Raptors. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Sixers at 8. Hour before that tip-off between the Heat and the Raptors. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Back with you guys tomorrow. See you then. Bye.